show you how I would approach and solve the mock midterm coding section question. So before you watch this video, I would open up this Google Doc, which I've linked in the description and on Canvas, to familiarize yourself with this. So first, I'm going to look at the instructions. So personally, I'm just going to copy and paste and take this over to Mu with my multi-line comment. And I see that I need to allow the user to enter their age prior to entry. So, okay, that means to me that I need to get the user's age, okay? And so based on their age, either grant or deny them access. So that means that I need to check the user's age against the drinking age, which we know is 21, okay? And then after the first customer, I need to generate a random number between 1 and 10 to see how many people are still online. So after the first user, generate a random num to see any people are left, okay? And so unless there are 0 people left, run the simulation. So let's say run the simulation for remaining people unless there are none, okay? So this is my initial thought process, and let me just go back and see what I can do to kind of translate this technically. So I need to get the user's age. So to get user input, that means I need to use the input function, okay? Well, I need to get the age. So I need age. That means that I need type int, which we can declare before input. So I need something that kind of looks like this, okay? So check the user's age against the drinking age. So I'll be making comparisons, and I know I can do that with the greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or the equal sign. And so I also should make a note that I need to then grant/deny access. Okay, so I have to make comparisons against the drinking age and the user's age, and then based on this comparison, I need to grant or deny access. So comparison plus action, that probably means I need to use if/elif, okay? Then after the first user, generate a random number, generate random num. I know that I need to use rand int. And I know since I need to use rand int, I need to import this library on line 1 before, just on line 1, okay. So I need to run the simulation for the remaining people unless there are none. So while there are people left, run simulation, okay. So I see while, I can use a while loop to do this, okay. So now I feel ready to code. So I could say from random import rand int. This is the first thing I need to do. Now let me look at the functions I need to create. So it says I need to create a function called getAge, and I know to do that by using my def keyword. Say def getAge, and we read that it takes no arguments, and we know that to get the user's age, it's going to look something like this on line 5, And I'll just say user age is equal to this. I'll say what? How old are you? That, okay? And great, I got the user's age. That's all I need to do. I need to return their age. So that's what I'll do. I'll return user age. Great, okay. Did all the steps that I need to here, got the age. Now, since I have the age, thinking through the process of a bouncers, I'm gonna tell them based on their age whether or not they can get let in. So I need to write a function called grant access, which will take the function, which will take the argument age. So I'll say def grant access, and I'll say this takes user age. And I can say, we saw in the instructions that the access is represented by ones and zeros, but before they're checked, access is 0. We haven't checked yet. Okay, so now here's where I'll use my if statements. Here is this check that I'll be making. So if user age is greater than or equal to 21, let's print that they have access. So I'll say, I'll let them know their access. And I'll say, you are old enough. Okay, and since I've already checked for age 21 and older, there's only one other check that I can make, which is younger. So here I can use an else statement, okay? And let's change their access, sorry. Let's change their access to 1, okay? They are now let in, so let's just make a comment. 0, denied, and we could say that 1, granted, okay? And we know that this is the condition that grants them access. You are not old enough. So instead of their access being 1, their access is now 0. Okay, great. And so we see grant access, and we need to return their access. Return access. Okay, great. So now we need the number of people in line. So we'll use num in line. So def num in line. And this takes no arguments. Okay. So I'll say line length is equal to randint. I'm calling that library that I imported. And I want a range of 0 to 10. There could be no one left. There could be at max 10. And that's what I need to return is the line length. Okay, going back to my code, I see that I need to generate a random number, and this code here generates the random number. And I also need to make sure that I imported it correctly on line 1 of my code. This is where my code starts, and I imported it there. Okay, and now I'm done with the bulk of my code. Now I just need to call the functions I want to use. So I'll define my main function, which we know takes no arguments. And I'll start by getting the user, I'll say the age input, age input. And I'm going to use a variable name to call the functions because this makes it easier when I need to use the functions and reuse them. And so I can see that step 1, get first users age, okay. And step 2, in the process of a bouncer, right, is to then grant/deny access, okay. Well, if that's the next step, then I know which function does that for me. So I'll call that, right? And I'll say user access is equal to grant access. And grant access, the function, I'm going to look back at my arguments to make sure that I'm calling them correctly, is the user's age, and that's represented where I call getAge. So I'll put age input in here. Okay, and my step 3 is generate random num. Oh, great. Okay, so you can say num say line length is equal to the function that does that for us. See, num in line gets us the line length. So I'll call num in line like this. Okay, and I know that I have to run this simulation for the people that could be left, right, on this condition that there are people left. I need to run the simulation. So I'll call a while loop. So while, and I can, let's say step 4, while there are people left on simulation. Okay, well, we see that while there are people left, so that would mean that while the line length is greater than 0, so greater than 0 would mean that there's at least one person left in line, we'll still need to run the simulation for them. And so let's also look back at the instructions, because they tell us that after each person has been checked, we're going to make sure to print out how many people are still in line and decrement the number of people in line. Okay, so once we get to this while loop, the first person has been checked, and we can say that there are line len people still in line. Okay, and I need to decrement, so I can call line length, and I will decrease the amount. So after each person is checked, I'll decrease. But I know also that for each person that's still left, I need to check their entry. So I will just copy and paste from what I did for the first user. So I took steps 1, 2, and 3, or I only need steps 1 and 2. Is I need to grant and deny and check age, and that's what I did here in my while loop. And then I decremented. So we see that we get the first person's age, we grant or deny them access, we find how many people are left in line. Okay, now with the people left, we tell them how many people are left, and we do the same process, get their age and tell them their access. And then we decrement. Okay, and now I feel done, and so I'll call main. And we can run our code, and you can see that I am 34. There's 2 people left. Let's check these 2 people. They're 44, and they're 20, so they're not old enough. First 2 people, last person can't get in. Okay, I feel done, but if you don't feel done or you don't feel confident, you're having errors, come back to your thought process that we made here, or you can check out my other YouTube videos.